Welcome back, guys. It's a really hot day out today. I thought I'd just relax a little bit and tell you about an upcoming project I have for the cabin. Stay tuned. So I got a package in the mail the other day of some mushroom spawn. So the spawn is in plug format, so I'm going to be starting a mushroom farm at the cabin. Really small scale, but it's a place to start. A while ago, I got this book right here. I talked to you guys a bit about that before, and it talks about basically growing mushrooms organically, and if you're into cleaning up dirty environments, mycoremediation, which means mushrooms help to take the toxins out of the ground, for example. So this is a really awesome book. I highly recommend it. I'll just show you guys a little close-up there of the title. And it talks about all aspects of growing mushrooms yourself. So you can grow them in lots of different types of media. These guys are like the easiest way to do it, and that is with the plug spawn. So let's take a look. So I've ordered oyster mushrooms and shiitake mushrooms. So I'm pretty excited about that. There's about 100 plugs in each bag. And you can see they're just little wood plugs there, and they have the mycelium growing on them, which is a really important part of basically the root system of the mushrooms, as it were. So why do I want to do this? Well, certainly sometimes it's tricky to go out in the wilderness all the time to get the mushrooms you want and in the quantity that you want, say for your cooking purposes. So I want to have a reliable source of mushrooms and have a large amount of them. So that's one of the reasons why I'm doing it. Another reason is that, when you grow your own mushrooms, you know where they're growing out of. You don't have to worry too much about the environment. Because mushrooms are good mycoremediators, you have to be really careful where you pick them because they could be absorbing toxins from the soil. So this way, when I'm making my own mushroom farm, I know exactly the trees that I'm using, the environment that I'm harvesting the mushrooms out of, and I know they haven't been exposed to pesticides or other toxins that could be leaching into them as they're growing. Another reason is that the oyster mushroom and shiitake mushroom also have some medicinal properties and benefits, so that'll be nice to have a reliable source of them and have many flushes per year, which is what I'm looking for. So let's talk about the different mushroom varieties that I picked. So the oyster mushroom here, it's a beautiful yellow mushroom. It can grow singly or in clusters. I've grown them through this group before in bags of sawdust. You can buy as mushroom kits to have in your house over the winter, for example, and that was lots of fun. So the yellow oyster mushroom, why I selected this one, it's a great beginner mushroom to begin growing. It grows really fast, and it loves to grow on hardwood, so I've got all the necessary trees for it. For example, maple and oak and alder. I actually probably will try to grow these on some birch logs, so that'll be really handy. I've already got the growth medium at the cabin, so that's really neat. And another reason why I want to harvest the oyster mushrooms is you get 2 to 3 flushes per year, and they're really rapidly growing. Like, it's possible, within the year I'm going to get my first flush of them. Whereas some mushrooms, it takes a really long time once you inoculate to get your mushrooms. For example, chicken of the woods, I think, takes probably a couple of years, is my understanding, for you to get your first flush. So oyster mushroom is really fast grower, and that's what I like about it. The one downside, though, with oyster mushrooms is that bugs love them, and so when you grow them, you may want to put a little bug net over your logs to protect them from getting eaten by the bugs. In cooking, the oyster mushroom is really nice. It dries well, and it can be, it has a really nutty and kind of meaty flavor to it, so it's really nice to add to soups and other meals. So I really like the flavor of the oyster mushroom, and it grows really prolifically when it grows, so I'll have lots for harvesting. So let's talk the shiitake mushroom. A lot of you guys know about the shiitake. You can get it in gourmet grocery stores. It is a mushroom originally from China and Japan. In Japan you can actually find it in the wild. And it's a medicinal mushroom as well. The shiitake mushroom is really high in protein and has all the amino acids that one would need. So some people use it as a meat substitute. It has a very kind of a meaty flavor and texture when you put it into recipes. So a lot of people use it for that. Very, very high nutritional value. It's the second most common cultivated mushroom in the world, and that's why you can kind of recognize the name when you see it. There are many different strains. The one that you see here that I picked out was the cold tolerant strain. So it's going to fruit between 2 and 10 degrees Celsius. It's really good for cooler latitudes and also higher elevations. So if you live in those kind of climates, you might want to get the cold strain shiitake. So there's very different ones. So you might want to just check with a mushroom grower to see which one would work well in your area. So there's lots of purported benefits for the shiitake mushroom, immunomodulatory benefits, liver support benefits, anti-inflammatory. So there's lots of stuff out there. I mean, it's a really good tasting mushroom. A lot of people use it, like I said earlier, you know, as a meat substitute, but you can use it in soups, any of your dishes. It's pasta sauces, you know, it's going to be an awesome mushroom to have on hand. It's pretty prolific. Per 3-foot log, you usually get about 1 to 2 pounds of harvest. So that's pretty exciting. It grows on hardwood, and that's another reason why I picked this. It's super easy to grow outside. It grows on hardwood, again, like your maples, your oaks, your alders. And indoors is a little bit trickier, but outdoors, I've heard it's really easy to grow, so I'm looking forward to that. I've got lots of maple at the cabin and a few oak as well, but the maples, you know, we've got a lot of those and some of the appropriate size to do the growth process. So I'm really excited about that. The shiitake takes about, again, about 6 to 10 months to get those fruiting bodies. So again, it's pretty rapidly growing. I'm excited. I'm hoping within the year, like even 2021, I'll start to get my first flush of them. And yeah, I'll have really lots of things to do with those mushrooms, dehydrate them and put them in my food and stuff like that. The shiitake, you can get a lot of mushrooms off of one log. So about a 3-foot log, you can get 1 to 2 pounds yield, and you can get 2 to 3 flushes per year. So I'm really excited. There'll be a lot of production for my little mini mushroom farm. I'm really excited about that. How are we going to put them, how are we going to get these mushrooms to grow? You might be wondering, from these little tiny, you know, mycelium covered plugs. Well, how it works is you want to cut down fresh hardwood for these two species. So we'll be cutting down, I mean, I'm going to show this to you guys in another video once I do this, but you cut down the hardwood into 3 to 4 foot lengths. What you're going to do is use a 5/16 bit and drill about 1 inch deep and make the holes about 6 inches apart and make a line kind of going down the tree. So you're going to kind of make a row of them, you know, in your 3 to 4 foot log, and you're going to sort of tap them gently into the holes. And I also have soy wax. So this is wax that I'm going to be melting in a pot and just sort of painting over the area with a little, you know, cotton swab or something like that, just to kind of seal it so you don't get contaminants in there. The reason why you want to use fresh logs is you don't want to end up with a competitor species, you know, because once a tree, you know, you fell a tree and the log starts rotting, other mushrooms are going to come up and take over, and you don't want potentially even toxic mushrooms to be, you know, in and amongst your regular mushrooms in case you know, cut them all off the log and you scoop up something that you shouldn't have. So basically you want to use a very fresh log, cut it down, make those rows down the log about 6 inches apart, the little holes should be, and then they should be about 2 inches apart between the different rows. Some people soak the logs for 12 to 24 hours so that they, you know, it's nice and moist for the mycelium to kind of take over the log. And it's really important to kind of keep the logs in the shade, elevated above the ground, and keep them moist. They need to have access to the rain. So you don't want to be putting them under a really heavy canopy where they can't get rained on. You do want to have, you know, them moist and protected from the sun, or you'll end up killing the early stages of the mushroom, little primordia there. So you want to make sure they're safe and sound in your forest or in your backyard. If you want to grow this at home, you can definitely do that as well. But remember, in the shade, I kind of would elevate them off the ground. So people have the logs kind of propped up against another log or structure. Some people grow them in these little trenches in the ground and keep them moist. I don't know if I want to do that. I just think that maybe opens it up a little bit more to getting colonized by something else. But I'm going to try elevating them above the ground and see how it goes. Of course, in my cabin, things have to kind of fend for themselves when I plant the trees. You know, I'm not out there every day watering them. So same with these mushroom logs. They aren't going to be really well taken care of other than just providing the bare minimum for them. And maybe that'll kind of lead to a really strong population of mushrooms, or maybe none at all. So we'll see what happens. Again, these two species of mushrooms that I've ordered are, you know, really easy, good for beginners, and they grow rapidly and they grow really well in my climate. And I've got lots of wood to grow them on. So I'm super excited about it. I just want to let you guys know a little sneak peek as to what's coming up on the channel. I'm getting into mushroom farming on a small scale. If you guys have any questions, I'll leave them down below in the comments, or if you have experience with this, please let me know your experience with it, any tips or tricks that I should know before starting this. And stay tuned, I will be posting a video in the future about getting these guys started in some logs at the cabin property. Hope you guys have a wonderful week as always. Take care.